And we are live. I want to thank everyone that's joining the show, whether it's tonight or you're watching at a later time. We really appreciate you coming on. Royce in the house. I've got great guests tonight. I've got my regular co host, Lou Mars, and Dana Hanson. Lou Mars and Dana are creating music together as we speak. They are both songwriters. Here's Lou and Dana. They're both songwriters. They'll be talking about their own careers a little bit, what they've got going. And we might have a couple of other people joining us later as well. I've invited a few other people. But what we're going to talk about tonight, and I'm really excited about it, we're talking about songwriters, great songwriters that wrote not only songs for themselves, but most of them wrote songs for other people as well. Not all, but most. So I'm gonna kick this off with one of my old favorites from the Motown era, 67, 68, 66. There was a period of time there before post British invasion and before Woodstock, where me and my friends were listening basically to nothing but soul music. The Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Wilson Pickett, uh, all of them. There are so many. I wanted to talk about this guy just because he wrote so many songs. Smokey Robinson of Smokey Robinson and the Miracles wrote 4,000 songs.
Wow.
It had several dozen number one hits. He wrote many, many songs for the Temptations. That was a group he wrote a lot for. He wrote the song, the Temptations' biggest hit was My Girl. That was written by Smokey Robinson. And then he turned around and wrote for Mary Wells, another big soul artist, My Guy, which was a big hit for her. So he wrote My Girl and My Guy. And he wrote songs for Marvin Gaye. He wrote songs for just about everybody during the Motown era. And so I had to give him a first shout out, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. It was fantastic. And kind of a high pitched voice, but it was a good voice. It was a good voice. He was a very talented guy, and an amazing, amazing songwriter. And I'll throw one more out there right now. And this is one of my all time favorites. And he's ranked in some rankings, including Rolling Stone's top 100 songwriters, as the number one songwriter of all time. And that is my man, Bob Dylan. And I absolutely love Bob Dylan. I mean, to me, that song Blowing in the Wind is an absolute masterpiece. He's got so many, Blowing in the Wind, Mr. Tambourine Man, A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, Subterranean Homesick Blues. I had fun. I was in London, England, and one of the biggest bloggers that does these travel vlogs, Jordan the Lion. It's a great show. He's got tens of thousands of followers. He's been doing it a long time. He's got tens of thousands of subscribers. But Jordan goes all over the country and makes these travel vlogs. Well, I happened to be in London, and Jordan met, my son-in-law there, and we were going to make some videos and stuff. And so me and Jordan stood in the alley where Bob Dylan wanted to prove to the public he was being accused of using foul language in the song Subterranean Homesick Blues. And so he stood in this alley in London with these big white placards, a stack of them he was holding. And the first lyrics would be on the first placard, then he'd toss it, and the second one, and he had these words all written in big letters, and he was proving that there was no foul language on that song.
I remember
And
that.
while we were standing in the alley, I was filming. On Jordan's video was that video of Bob Dylan throwing the placards with the alley in the background. And I swear to you, I'm not exaggerating. That alley in the background looked exactly like it did in the film. It's like nothing had changed in like 50 years. There was even construction work going on in the same areas. Okay, so that's Bob Dylan. And like I said, poet, songwriter. We're being joined by another guest, my good friend Daddy Bog. And look at Daddy Bog's music history on his walls back there.
That's sports. Sports. There is some music.
Okay, quick shout out. Hi, Angela. Good to see you, girl. And Caitlin Stoddard, our own Caitlin Stoddard, I always say. And we've got Lou Mars and Dana Hanson and Daddy Bog here. And we're going to have fun tonight talking about songwriters. So, Lou, do you and Dana have somebody in particular you'd like to bring up to get? Oh, go ahead, Daddy.
You were mentioning Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
I sat in the chair where he wrote a lot of his songs. It's actually featured in a bar in San Francisco.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
But what I was going to do is when you mention a few people, I got a few albums up here, so I'll show the albums.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, do that.
Well, I'm going to let ladies first. I'm going to let Dana talk about her inspiration.
Okay, good.
And I'll come in after.
I just put a nice.
Sounds great.
Her tongues all go good. There you turn that back when you do an Ice Cube. So, Dana, what do you think about the ladies?
Well,
Or maybe it was men. Really?
I had a lot of influences. Pretty much. Blue. How do you work with that?
We like to do that.
I am a child of the 60s. I mean, I was really influenced by Joni Mitchell, and I loved Judy Collins, but I also loved Ella Fitzgerald, and I loved Aretha Franklin, I mean, Soul Sisters, and oh my God.
Oh yeah.
And Nina Simone, all these women were so vibrant and exciting, but the songwriters were like Carole King and Joni Mitchell. Joni wrote so many songs.
So many songs. Yeah.
For everybody. I mean,
everybody.
Nash did their work, and Neil Young did some of the things. I mean, she wrote for a lot of people, plus herself.
Oh yeah, Neil Young. Yeah, he's definitely on my list. I love Neil Young.
Her style was all over. She was folky to jazz to kind of bluesy, and
that's right. That's right. Cinnamon Girl. That's one of the first grunge songs.
By Neil Young.
By Neil Young. That's right. I've got one more person I'm bringing on here, and this happens to be my younger brother. Richie Eddie, the Jesus Movement, and my brother Richie's got this podcast, the Jesus Movement, and he's trying to he's trying to save my soul, but he's got his work cut out for him. And
no, I gave up on that one.
Hey, don't give up, man. You never give up.
I'm just kidding. Of course, I'm kidding.
Brothers.
But for anybody that doesn't know, my younger brother Richie is a musician. He played all over Las Vegas where we grew up. He was getting written up in the major newspapers by Forrest Duke, who was writing up all the big acts in the Las Vegas Strip, calling him and his wife a must-see duo, the Eddings duo. And he was a great musician. Stole all my Creedence tapes and taught all the neighborhood kids how to play songs. And they'd play in the front yard. And he taught everybody in the band how to play their own instruments.
For a while there, yeah. I couldn't find nobody.
Right. So he just taught them. And all the neighborhood kids would be out in our front yard every night watching my brother play. So anyway, let's let Dana go on now. She's gonna tell us about some of her favorite songwriters.
Oh my gosh. Current ones, the girls now, I love Sarah Jarosz. I don't even know if you know who Sarah Jarosz is.
No, I'm not familiar with her.
Kind of bluegrass Americana, but her lyrics, I kind of steal some of her things sometimes. And make them
cool.
Sheryl Crow, I like a lot of Sheryl Crow's work.
Oh, good.
I agree with you on that. I like a lot of Sheryl Crow's work.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the stuff she did with Kid Rock, even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The duet, yeah. Kind of became karaoke, but it was a good song.
They were good. They were good together. They were good together.
Are you familiar with Shawn Colvin?
No, I'm not familiar. No, I'm not.
She did some stuff with Steve Earle.
Steve Earle. Yeah, I love Steve Earle. He's great. What a great voice. My wife and I both really liked him.
I mean, as far as styles and stealing, I love all types of music. I mean, I'm really drawn to people with power and authenticity in their voice. So, I don't know. I definitely have my own style.
Right. And it's a great style too, from what I've seen. I mean, I haven't seen that much, but if that's any indication, I mean, if you guys even wanted to play something tonight, I'd be happy to. No, I mean,
we are in the studio. Drums, guitar.
I didn't mean live, but I meant just
I was gonna say we're plugged in. Yeah, maybe next week we'll do that more.
Yeah,
but
that'd be cool.
As far as for me, I'll jump through the decades really quick because every decade had something different to bring.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For me, of course, the '60s as a child, who could not put the Beatles and Elvis in there? Even though Elvis didn't write his stuff, I was very inspired by watching him physically, and it got me turned on to the music bit. But the Beatles, I mean, their early stuff was, very poppy. But when they got into Sgt. Pepper, that was just a masterpiece in my mind. And I was incredibly moved and inspired by that album. I've never heard anything like it. So it really blew me away of the way that you could talk about things that weren't love songs. Yellow Mattered, coming from a dead dog's eye. And that's a hit, right? So that was really something for me. But and then jumping after that, the way Elton John kind of took it. And God, Elton John was on fire for 6 years of just hits. Queen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Cat Stevens, Harry Chapin.
Oh, Cat Stevens,
Tim Croce.
Everybody's favorite terrorist, Cat Stevens.
God, there's Cat Stevens, Teaser in the Firecat album. Holy cow.
Yeah. T for the Tillerman. I love Cat Stevens. One of my next door neighbors turned me on to him when I was about 18 years old.
Oh, man. I mean, Moonshadow and all that. I mean, and then, of course, Led Zeppelin was in there. If you don't like Led Zeppelin, it's kind of like not liking the Beatles or not liking Dogs and Chocolate. I mean, come on. Really? There's so much stuff going on that's good. You got to like something.
Right.
Stones, of course, too. Then later on, we get into the 80s. You got a lot of one-hit wonders, but they still were cool. Tears for Fears. I liked some of the stuff they were doing. Even Madonna had some inspiration. Jump into the 90s. You've got Soundgarden, the whole grunge period, Nirvana. I love Stone Temple Pilots. I
really like that period.
Radiohead, Creep. What a song. And the In Rainbows album, mind-blowing. If you want to listen to them play the Live in the Basement, remember they beat Coldplay that year on best-selling album, and they gave their album away. That's never been done before. That means you're doing some good shit. So, I'm even going to say today, and these two might be not popular for a rock guy like me to say, but the truth is Taylor Swift can write a mean album, whether you like it or not. The girl can write, and she had more sales than anybody else on the last year that they counted album sales instead of how popular we were on Twitter. Now, I'm also going to give Billie Eilish's brother. Dude's amazing. He wrote that first album he wrote for Billie Eilish. He's 22. That kid wrote a lot of great music, man.
Billie Eilish's brother?
Ocean Eyes is a great song,
I had no idea.
What's going on is my point.
Right.
Lana Del Rey, even Lady Gaga, you can say she stole stuff from Madonna, but you know what she did with A Star Is Born, the current version? Really well done. You got to tip my hat to Lady Gaga, I didn't like you, but after that, I like you. That was great stuff. So that's my stuff in a nutshell through the years. I always like to say there are 10 songs that I wish I had written. I think every artist has certain songs they like, I wish I had written that. And so I'll get into some of those later as we get into discussion. Keep it interesting.
Right.
What's up? What's up, you, Richie?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if we're talking about just like straight rock stuff, but Chris Christopherson wrote a million songs,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the list and it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
That is a very good point. It isn't just rock.
It's like he wrote some rock stuff too and some religious stuff, but Loving Her Is Easier and Help Me Make It Through the Night, and it just goes on and on here. There's probably 50 or 60 songs right here, or maybe 100. I don't know.
And don't forget Neil Diamond and Burt Bacharach. Those bad boys could write, man.
Oh yeah, Burt Bacharach. He wrote the Carpenters did all his songs, didn't they?
He couldn't sing. When he sang,
don't you remember You Told Me You Love Me, Baby? Remember that one?
Right.
Carole King, Carly Simon, Angela.
I think he did a lot for Dionne Warwick too.
Oh yeah. Well, she did the singing.
Oh yeah.
Did she write? Did she write too?
I don't know if she wrote too.
I don't think so.
I think Burt wrote all his stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Gloria Gaynor, was Gloria Gaynor a one-hit wonder?
Who?
Gloria Gaynor.
Yeah, I don't remember what that one hit was though.
First, I was afraid. I was petrified.
Yeah.
I don't know if she did too many, but I know that was a good one. A big one. Anyway.
I'll take a one-hit wonder, please.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah, wouldn't we all? Hey, Richie, Merle Haggard had 38 number one hits. 38.
Wow.
38 number. That's pretty decent.
Oh, yeah. Well, Okie from Muskogee and Mama Tried were a couple of big ones, you know. Yeah.
Although I wasn't inspired by Michael, you couldn't, you know, again, there's another guy that he was beating Beatles records, you know, so Michael Jackson, you got to put him on there with his personal shit, forget that stuff, but his music,
worldwide.
You know, globally. Hey, speaking of globally, come back here, Royce. Come finish on us.
Marijuana in Muskogee.
Don't make me jump in there.
We don't take our trips on LSD.
Sorry to hear that.
We don't wave old glory down at the courthouse.
Are we gonna have a sing-along?
We living life and being free. Everybody sing now. Well, I'm proud to be an behind us from Muskogee. It's all delayed and everything. That was fun. Yeah.
It doesn't work.
I'm ready.
It probably didn't sound too good online, but over here in my living room, it sounded great. So
it does sound good. You can't. It's hard. You're using laptop.
A little armed and dangerous over there.
Yeah.
That's why the people are like, "Can I come record your show?" And you're on their phone. You're like, "No, no."
What about Kenny Rogers? Did he write a lot of stuff, or did he do most of other people's things?
Who?
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers. I'm not 100% sure about Kenny Rogers.
I'm pretty
sure he wrote stuff like The Gambler and stuff like that, but I know he did some Lionel Richie stuff. And, you know.
Lucille.
Yeah, Kenny Rogers wrote one song and replayed it over and over again, forward and backwards, and that album was great.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
You know. You think the fine time, next song.
Yeah.
The Beatles, though, the Beatles had the most #1 hits of all time.
There were some good writers. There were some good writers.
Nobody beat the
Lennon
Beatles. And, Paul McCartney and John Lennon collaborated a lot, but they also had huge catalogs that just they wrote. Even
they had a secret weapon. They had Martin in the
Beatles
and too. By the way, he did a lot of work.
I put Paul McCartney above John Lennon with, Full on the Hill from Magical Mystery Tour. We Can Work It Out.
Okay, so
let's see. What else do I have here? Eleanor Rigby, Let It Be, Hey Jude.
So you're talking quantity, not quality.
Yeah.
No,
you know what? That's a close one.
Paul was all with the king in the hat. And John's
I think that's a very close. That's a very close race there. With
it's a very close race.
I'm not ready. They collaborated with their songs too. They had a lot of songs shelved. They had a lot of songs shelved, and when they broke up, when they started coming out individually, I think those guys all wanted to do those songs, but they didn't let them, like Lennon and McCartney. They were the writers, I read something about that. They kind of just stuck with their music until they broke up, and then they all started. I listened to an album or two of all Ringo Starr,
Oh, Ringo actually had the biggest album after they broke up, had the biggest seller, and part of the reason of that, he was the only one that had all the Beatles back on it.
What's cool stuff? It Don't Come Easy and Photograph and those songs.
Yeah. The drummer.
Yeah. And what John and Yoko, remember some of those songs?
Oh my God.
Well, that's where cassettes
what's that one that they did?
The Plastic Ono Band.
What?
The Plastic Ono Band. John Lennon had 32 #1 hits.
That's pretty decent.
Imagine was when he was solo,
Oh, that's right.
He had
if you're measuring the quality of a writer by a #1 hit, then Led Zeppelin would be in big trouble because they only had one #1 of all of their albums. So Stairway wasn't it. All of the songs.
No, it was
Sitting on a Tadpole in a Jar. That silly song was their #1 hit. So yes,
wait.
Which a lot of hits because he writes
a Whole Lot of Love, right? Whole Lot of Love.
That's hard to believe. That's really unbelievable. They only had one #1 hit.
One #1 hit, Led Zeppelin.
That's amazing,
All Billy Joel albums like Chicago, 10 albums, 11 albums.
Oh yeah,
right. They didn't hit across the board all.
Hence my point. My point.
Right.
It's not necessarily a measurement of good songwriting. My old man once said at a party. I was at a party, And these people were all doing recognition, being very kind to me, coming up, man, I saw this, I saw you on the TV show, I saw that. And he says in front of them, too bad you never had a hit. And I'm all, I had 30 years of successful touring, 2 world records, now, Grammy nod, all this crap. The reality TV show went, and I'm like, that is the only thing that means success to you is a #1 hit. A lot of people think like that.
Right.
A lot of success.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said these one-hit wonders. I would love to have written Sex and Candy, that song. I think it's a great song. I smell sex and candy. I mean, that's a great tune.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them like that. Cats in the Cradle. Fucking phenomenal song.
No, that's a great song. Great song.
Yeah. So, and like we said, that whole teaser Fire Cat album, Cat Stevens.
Tea for the Tillerman.
Tea for the Tillerman. What else? He had Moon Shadow. Oof.
Yeah.
What was the dude that did What a Fabulous Night for a Moon Dance? Who? Van Morrison? Was that
Van Morrison? Van Morrison was huge. Yeah, I love Van Morrison.
I wish I can see clearly now. Remember that one? Was it Jimmy Cliff that wrote that, or there's another? There's 2 people.
I'm not sure.
Was that Paul Simon? It wasn't Paul Simon, was it?
No. He's a great songwriter.
I thought I'd throw that in there.
I gotta ask you guys
he
this.
just passed away about a year ago.
I
can see clearly now. He passed away about a year ago.
Who was it?
That was the first reggae song.
Yeah, it was good.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, that was a great song too.
Okay, I got to bring up the inventor of rock and roll right now. The inventor of rock and roll was Chuck Berry. And I don't know when the last time you heard his #1 hit song was, My Ding-a-Ling, but I listened to it tonight.
It was on the other side of the 45. I played it at my school.
Did you?
Bring your music to school day.
Isn't that a funny song?
My Ding-a-ling.
I mean, the audience can sing. The audience can sing the words with him. They all know it. You know, My Ding-a-ling. And
that just shows you what the society is all about, right?
And, Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry's credited with inventing rock and roll. I mean, Johnny Be Good, Roll Over Beethoven.
I don't know about that.
No, bad call.
What about some of those 50s guys?
On that.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it was Johnny Nash.
Johnny Nash, and did Jimmy Cliff sing it, I think. Maybe.
Right.
There it is. Thank you. Thanks for that, Daddy Dog. Yeah, no, to give one musician singular credit for bringing in rock and roll, or even the first hit, that's almost like, for example, they give the very first rap hit to a white woman, and that was Blondie for Rapture. Now,
I know.
So if you do that same kind of argument, you say, Blondie started rap. I don't know about that. Yeah, Chuck, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I did when I was with my ex-wife. We did some Blondie stuff. It was fun. It was fun stuff to do.
Another great band.
You guys did a good job on
great
that.
album, great songwriting. Heart of Glass.
Heart of Glass. We did that one. Yeah.
You guys remember Berlin? Take My Breath Away. I met Terry. Yeah. I love Terry Nunn and her band. Dave, the drummer. You never saw him in the videos, but great drummer. Passed away in 2011. I used to do his gigs in Belize for him when he'd come to the States. So another great band, big song. That's a big, big song. And the lyrics of that song, and let's talk about that for a second. What makes a great song or a singer-songwriter? And I always said, first this part, it either moves you physically or emotionally, and then a great song does both. The second part of dissecting a great song, in my opinion, is that what I noticed that these people, there's 2 types. You'll have Prince who plays on the up and fills every note. Then you have these other artists that are really good with the rest. They know when to be quiet in the song. And then they have dynamics. It'll get really big, like Elton John's Funeral for a Friend or Foreplay from Boston. And then boom, it drops down. Yeah. You have those great dynamics in a great song. So those are the things that I feel are big. But lyrics first, because you can have a crappy singer, but if like Dylan, who doesn't sing with a shit, but can be huge because he phonetically connects with you. Neil Young, a better singer, but still
actually Dylan's voice wasn't too bad on some of his later stuff when he started doing. When you remember, I don't remember the names of the songs, but he did some later on that he sounded pretty decent on. His actual voice.
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, what's wrong with How many roads?
Hey,
can a man
where's Tom Petty?
Before
Tom Petty's
you
cool.
call him a
Bob Dylan sound.
man. What's wrong with that, man?
Rolling down the dream.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, he
Didn't
did
Hendrix
the same
do a couple of
thing. Tom
those?
Petty was the modern day version of Bob Dylan. I mean, come
Who
on.
was Tom Petty?
They got the
Wilburys.
Wilburys.
You know what? The modern day version of Bob Dylan, to me, I'm not sure how modern day it is anymore. To me, the Foo Fighters is a new band. They're only 21 years old, right? But I mean,
Dylan and the Foo Fighters?
Kurt Cobain was a modern day Bob Dylan. Poet, songwriter,
I'm going to disagree with you.
storyteller. I loved Kurt Cobain.
We like Kurt too.
I do too. I think Kurt himself said, and he became really good friends with Neil Young. He loved Neil Young. He was a big fan
Right.
of Neil Young. And his other one was Lennon and Bowie. Bowie was a big fan of Lennon, which is the only cover that he did on the MTV Unplugged.
Hey,
Bowie.
Rachie joined us. Rachel, say hi, Rachel.
Yes.
Hello, hello,
Rachel,
music lovers.
She's got a great podcast, everybody. You've all got to go check out Rachel's Ghost, and please subscribe while you're there. She's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for subs and donuts.
So am I. I just haven't been much of a sucker lately.
Right, it's cool to see Daddy Bog's pad. Daddy Bog, you win the room for tonight. You got the best room out of all of us. It's like a shrine. It's like a museum.
What is happening?
It does. It looks great.
It's a combination of sports and music.
It looks really good.
If I take that away, I don't know how much.
Can you give us a quick tour somehow? Does your camera move?
I got autographed baseballs and hats and stuff, pitches.
Yeah, it's very cool looking. So who's your favorite team? I'm just curious.
I was going to ask that. You beat me to it. What's the sports team?
What sport?
Oh, let's go baseball. America's pastime.
Baseball.
Hacky sack.
Well, I grew up in New York, and when the Dodgers moved out of Brooklyn,
yes,
I had to find a team. So I went with the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, no Yankees for you.
No
pinstripes.
No, I have pinstripe curtains.
Close enough.
Hey, you know, I got somebody I want you to help me with here in a minute, Daddy Boggs. Before that, I'm going to give a quick shout out. We've got a couple of great podcasters that have just joined us. One is Eddie's Physical Media.
We're gonna pull out.
Go to his show. They plays great music. And the other one is Bip Bop Boom. Both these guys have great shows. Please check them out. Eddie's Physical Media, Bip Bop Boom. Subscribe to their channels. You won't regret it. They're a lot of fun. Okay, Daddy Boggs. The next person I wanted to bring up as a songwriter was Brian Wilson.
Who's he?
Yes.
Beach Boys.
And I was hoping you'd really help me out on that. I mean, he wrote a lot of great songs. When I grew up to be a man, God only knows. Don't worry, baby. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But I don't want to steal it because I know you're a big Beach Boys fan. I want you to tell the story.
There it is.
I didn't pull all the albums out, but there's.
I know you didn't.
Well, he had
there'd be no Beach Boys without Dick Dale, though.
He had like 6 albums when he was like 21 years old, and he had Capitol putting pressure on him, and that's why he had to retire from touring so he could stay in the studio.
Yes.
But there's one.
Now wait a minute. Is he the big one that went through that depression and everything?
Yeah.
That's pretty much almost every musician.
That would be him right here.
Brian.
Yeah.
Great.
Every musician going through depression,
I
mean.
That's how you write a song.
Yeah. The best albums. Phil Collins, after his divorce, No Jacket Required. Yeah. Great
Another album.
He felt like shit. He wrote a great album.
Well, I'm getting ready to be thrown out, so I'll probably write something really good after that.
That's right. We're ready too.
You see all them boxes stacked up behind me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
I think there's going to be a lot of new music coming out from the.
I got 30 of their albums. I'm not going to show all of them. Here's the top one.
Oh, Pet Sounds, yeah.
Oh,
Nice collection. Nice.
Boggs, I know you talked about this before. Oh yeah, I've got that one. I just bought this last night.
Good for you. That's nice, Royce. That's
Well,
good
this,
album.
this is
darn.
the
Oh, here
double
we
album
go.
I
set.
have instruments.
This is the double album
I can
set
play
that
that
even
shit.
has Kokomo on it. Yeah.
Well, I have the one with 30 songs on the
Richard's got
cassette,
all
on the
kinds of
CD.
And the crazy thing was, it was like $22 at Target. Yeah.
The Price is Right. Target's got a lot of good prices.
Yeah, for a double album set with a. I have that album as a single album, but the second album's got all this new stuff on it, and it was like as cheap as the first album. It was great.
You have all these people coming out now with remixes and different versions,
Right.
and everybody's getting into it. Now you got Revolver coming out.
Yeah.
And it's just an overkill.
Right. Oh, no, it's going crazy. I mean, Kiss just came out with Creatures box set, I think it is, and it's got like it's like a $250 box set based on one of their albums. They'll probably have one out for every album before the next year's over.
It's a good way to keep it alive. They're introducing the youth to the an array of music, and as I've always said, a good song is a good song is a good song. It never dies. It can be redone. It could be unplugged. It could be an acoustic. It doesn't matter. It's a good song, and that's the beauty of a lot of what we're talking about today. These were great songwriters, and anybody can redo them, and it still has a chance of being good because it's that good of a song.
Right.
And the two we just mentioned earlier, Paul McCartney and Brian Wilson, they both were 80 in June.
Wow.
80?
Yep.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
It's hard to watch your heroes age. That's
I
all
know.
I've got to say about that. It's hard.
Right.
You know,
They're
when I see.
alive. That's a good
I
thing.
think the rock and roll
Yeah.
kept him pretty young, though. You know,
Scary. I'm right behind them.
Paul McCartney
Music
still looks
keeps us
good.
young.
Excuse me?
Music keeps us young.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's right.
Music, period. You know,
Good memories. A good song can take you back to a specific moment in time, even the smells in a room. I mean,
Right.
one of the first songs I ever asked, I remember I was 8 years old at my birthday in the Philippines, and these violinists came over, and my mother said, "What song would you like them to play?" I don't know anything about mariachis. So not knowing, at the time, my favorite song was Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. So that's what I asked for. And the violinist paused for a second. 8-year-old kids asking for Raindrops, right?
I got something I have to get.
They played it. It was beautiful.
I had so many requests for that song, and I swore I'd never learn it,
Really?
and I didn't, even though I liked it.
I've never.
But
I've never
every
learned it either.
night, raindrops, keep falling my head. I'm like, no. They played on the jukebox 3 times during the break.
It's an appropriate song.
Another
somewhere.
another songwriter whose music I really liked, and I didn't like everything he did. There's some people I put on a Led Zeppelin tape, it's start to finish. I love every single song on every single album. I've got all the studio albums and some other stuff, some box sets and compilations and things like that. But there's some people that you listen to a whole album, and then you listen to the next one, you're skipping songs. And I find myself doing that with some of Bob Marley's stuff. Although I love Bob Marley, and one of his, we had fun with Bob Marley songs on the construction site. And the songs like Buffalo Soldier, Coming to America, and we substitute each other's names and try to make up funny lyrics for them, and just have a fun time.
I'm glad you brought that up, though, Royce, because here's a big thing that's changed with writing music today. It used to be when in the 70s, 80s, and even part of the 90s.
Right.
It sounds like the ice cream truck. Is that what are you poking in my eye for?
No one.
Oh, I was like, what's there something? Why are you poking my eye?
I can't figure out what he's got.
It looks like a creepy clown. Anyways.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
No.
Nice.
But
I bought this for my mom years ago.
That is
Bob
cool.
Marley
Now
had
that I like.
great songs.
I like.
So I shot the
here's
sheriff.
the thing. Here's what changed, as I was saying. It used to be that when you wrote music, you wrote for an album. And one of the things musicians got away with, you wrote 10 songs on the average for an album. Now, Bowie's one of the kings of this. didn't mean every song had to be great, because you had to buy the album, or you'd buy a single on a single,
Right.
on a cassette or a 45.
Right.
Today, that isn't the game.
Right.
They buy by the song. You can't get away with selling an album of shit with one good song. Every song has to be good, or they don't.
Every
buy
song
it
has to be good. That's exactly right.
So, Royce, when you said, "Yeah, I get this album," and I'd have to skip every other one, or kind of like when John Lennon did his last album with Yoko, every other song, that wouldn't have gone today. Nobody would have bought the Yoko track. He would have bought well, Watching the Wheels Go Round, Woman, and that's it. All he would have sold off that album.
Right.
Just being real. Don't get pissed, John Lennon fans. But that's being real. So here's the deal. Today, it's a much harder game as far as competition to write, to eat. It's the music business, folks. We all forget, it's all art. No, it's business. And you got to write and you got to sell these songs. In order to sell them, you now have to write every song to be sellable. You can't have a dead song or a spacer or the 10th song on an album. That's over. Right. So when people are like today, it really irks me when they go, well, there's no good songwriting today. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Try it. It's harder to write today and make money than it was in 1969, where you could be Jimi Hendrix and have 2 good songs that are badass and the rest shit. Yes, Hall of Famer, great guitarist, wonderful, died his peak, but his every song wasn't great on the albums. Let's be real.
It was on Jimi Hendrix Experience. To me, every song was great on that album.
We just listened to it here yesterday. We did, and we turned it off.
Now, if you drop acid,
you want to get.
I guess it's not for everybody.
Are you digging this? We looked at each other.
No.
Hey Joe is cool. Wild Thing. I mean, not Wild Thing. Purple Haze, which was wild.
I don't know how many Jimi Hendrix Experience tapes, smash hits, greatest hits, and everything I've worn out in my lifetime.
The reason these
I have played them into the ground and replaced
them. Every album to be a greatest hits. Today you don't need greatest hits album because you have to release greatest hits. That's my point.
I hear you.
You can't get there are greatest hits albums on the new artists because every song has to be a hit or not, or you don't release it.
Yeah, it's nowadays. I mean, and way back when it was hard to find an album that every song was good on.
I know.
Very few.
Maybe there'd be 3 really good ones, and then the rest would be, but you kind of start liking a few as you listen to them, But
that's
still,
exactly right.
If you're enamored with a band, you might like that band. Like I like Radiohead a lot, so I can listen to the In Rainbows album I talk about all the time. A lot of people don't. They hear like the 4th or 5th song and they're like, I'm out. Right. I get it. I really like them. Same with Zeppelin, like you, Royce, except for album number 3 and number 1. I get bored of, honestly, just get bored. Number 3 sounds like some hicks on a hill. I'll
tell you something right now, Lou. I was in high school. Led Zeppelin did 1 and 2 in '69. One had no singles, so most people didn't even know who they were yet. When Whole Lotta Love hit with Led Zeppelin 2, everybody went nuts, and people were saying they had a Led Zeppelin 1. They had a Led Zeppelin. We didn't know that. And so finally, me and my friends were the biggest Led Zeppelin fans ever. And Led Zeppelin 3 came out, and I was the only one of all my friends that would even listen. They all heard it once and walked away from it. They didn't like it. Everybody thought it was the worst Led Zeppelin album they'd ever heard.
I'll never forget when Coda
it, and it grew on me, and I grew to like Led Zeppelin 3.
There's some stuff on it, but it's not a great album. Coda, all of my friends, we went out in the desert in Arizona waiting for that album to drop, and they played on the radio announced, we're going to play the whole album. Finally came out, and we sat there in silence. It was almost like a funeral. We could not believe we were listening to Led Zeppelin as Hot Dog played. We're like, and all those keyboards.
That's how my friends were on Led Zeppelin 3. They hated it.
And, Yamaha DX27.
I went out and bought it immediately without even hearing it. And I played it, and I didn't really care for it either, but I kept playing it on the way to school and back and in the evenings. And at no time at all, I started to appreciate it. And it wasn't popular when it came out, but over time, it became 7 times platinum,
Because, of course, enough Walmart to buy it, there you go. You got platinum.
Fans came up and they bought everything Led Zeppelin.
That's why they stopped.
I'm a little bit jaded. I was in a wax competition, and I did the history of Led Zeppelin with the new Yardbirds, which was the Led Zeppelin lineup before they branded themselves Led Zeppelin. and they went to fill all the Swedish dates that the Yardbirds, couldn't do because they'd canceled, they quit, the band had broke up. So Led Zeppelin, as the new Yardbirds, went to do all those tour dates. And I told that whole story in this wax competition, and I lost to Led Zeppelin 3 by the other guy.
Oh, no.
And I still haven't gotten over it because I remember in real time everybody hated that album.
Hey, well, speaking of good writers, though, going back to the good writers, let's not forget a guy who gets overlooked a lot and who wrote music for a lot of other people in the 80s, and that was Prince. Prince, whether you like him or not, there's another guy. Purple Rain album was a pretty damn good album. And he wrote, that one that he wrote for, was it Sinead O'Connor? Did I say her name right?
Oh, yeah.
Sinead O'Connor,
Nothing Compares to You. That song was a great hit. He wrote for what? He wrote a second song, that's Monday, what was that one? Just Another Manic Monday. Which one was it? Banana Rama or the
Monday.
Bangles.
Bangles.
The Bangles, yeah.
Egyptian. They did that one too. Yeah.
Walk like an Egyptian, right? That was fun.
The guy was writing under a different name and he still had hits. That was pretty badass.
I got to give a shout out right now before I forget. Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton wrote 3,000 songs and had 40 #1 hits.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's amazing.
That's a songwriter right there. That is a
So
songwriter.
people are pissed off that she's inaugurated to get into the Hall of Fame this year.
Why?
Well, because it was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and people were pissed off. There were so many deserving people that were more of the rock. She can go on. She's probably already in the Country Hall of Fame.
I see what you're saying. So that's what that was all about. They
That's
felt
what
she
that
was
was
in the
all
wrong
about.
genre.
You had rappers, you had country artists, and they were all being nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And so many good rock acts haven't been inducted yet.
Right.
But before I go any further, my granddaughter that lives in Georgia now, just moved to Georgia, is actually in the chat.
What?
Alexis. Hi, Alexis. How are you, baby? This is my granddaughter. She was born when my daughter and her husband were living in our house, and she lived there long enough to have her first birthday.
What's
And
her
so
name?
And so did my second grandchild by that daughter. And my first grandson by another daughter lived with us till he was 2 years old, was born living in our house. So
there it is. Hi, Papa.
Alexis, we just love Alexis. She's just a great kid. Not a kid anymore. Everybody's getting older, but she's graduated from Chico State. Now she's an insurance underwriter, and she left Chico and moved to Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you like Georgia, Alexis? Put us in the comments. What do you think of Georgia?
And where?
And then I'll tell you what I thought of it.
Tell us what you think of Georgia, Alexis.
I was just there a couple months ago.
Look at this, Mary Jane. I haven't seen Mary Jane in a little while. Hi, Mary Jane. How are you?
I was stationed in Augusta.
Augusta?
Right on. What'd you think?
Fort Gordon.
What'd you think, Bob? What'd you think of? How'd you like it?
There was nothing to do there.
In Georgia?
It was all run down. It's not like it is today, but you had the Masters tournament, and it was off limits to us. We weren't allowed to go into town.
Oh, really?
But the Masters is noted for.
Huh.
That's it.
Hey, so Rachel, who's your favorite songwriters?
Well, Lennon McCartney. And then Lennon taking the edge on McCartney for me. I like most of the John songs more than the Paul songs, but Paul's great. And I like Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's my #1 solo guy.
Right. I love Bob Dylan.
Yeah, there you go. Highway 61, Bob's greatest. Those are both great.
What a collection.
Great.
Yeah, and I like XTC for newer bands, and that's still going back a long way, but XTC I like.
That Dear God
song. Bands now.
Man, got banned. Got banned.
Yeah, Alice Cooper band. I like the Alice Cooper band more than Alice Cooper solo, but those first kind of 5-6 albums by Alice Cooper, was it 5? I think. Yeah. Alice Cooper, his early stuff was so much fun. And I was the right age for it. I was a kid for it. So I like that pure rock and roll. And yeah, I like Jimmy Page, even though he gets rapped for being, a bit of a rip-off artist. But everybody it's hard to write something completely original. Everybody owes a little something to whoever came before.
Nobody played like him at the time. Nobody played like that.
Right.
It was kind of like Eddie Van Halen, where when Eddie came out, he was inspired by some people, but nobody technically played like that. It was
Jimmy Page was a session player, and he was playing at like 3 different studios. All these bands were creating, records, and they'd tap him to do some solos and stuff. And one of those 3 studios, 60% of all the music that came out of it had tracks by Jimmy Page on it.
Yeah, him and Jim Sullivan. Big Jim Sullivan were 2 good session guys in the UK for guitar, and they were on everything.
Everything, yeah.
One thing I wanted to add about Georgia, you had to be 21 to drink, and we were 19 and 20 years old. We had to go over the bridge to Aiken, South Carolina. So that's another downfall on Georgia.
I like it when he came back.
Well, I grew up just outside of Las Vegas in Henderson, Nevada, and you had to be 21 to go in the casinos and gamble and stuff. But we solved that problem. We all had fake IDs, brown hair, brown eyes, 160 pounds. You go anywhere you want, And I actually got arrested one night for being underage. We sat down at the blackjack table. Me and George Maestas, my buddy, were playing blackjack. Richie knows George.
Yeah.
And time got away from us. We must have sat there for 10 hours playing cards. And the whole time they're serving us free drinks. And I stood up and I started to take a step, and I careened sideways and slammed into the slot machine because I had too much to drink. And I got arrested at the casino for drunk in public. They took me upstairs. They found my fake ID and they took it away from me, and I had to go to court and the whole 9 yards. It was too much.
It just looks good on a musician's resume. For us, I just help us get bigger gigs. Oh, you got arrested? You threw a mattress out the window? Come on! That's crazy. But
I got another songwriter here. How about Bernie Taupin and Elton John?
Yeah, we were talking about them yesterday.
Yeah,
we were listening to someone say
they wrote a lot of stuff together. Yeah, I always thought that Bernie Taupin wrote all the lyrics and Elton John just wrote the music, the piano music.
That's the theory.
But over time, I found out that they collaborated more on almost everything,
Yeah,
I think that was later. I think initially.
Your song has got to be Elton's lyrics, I think, and
right.
Debatable even. There's some there that mix that up, but
Let's ask him.
Yeah, let's get him on. Get him on the phone. Somebody get him on the phone. There's also albums where the singer-songwriters that changed everything or changed momentum. You may not like it. We talked about before, the Sex Pistols. Not the greatest writing, perhaps, but they changed music direction. The Cars' first album, nothing was like it when it came out. You had guy, wasting all my time, with Benjamin Orr. You got to remember, Foreigner, Journey, Kansas, all these screaming high vocalists were out at the time. In order to have a band back then, I was one of them, you had to have somebody screaming their tonsils out. It was impossible to get a Robert Plant in your band. But then the Cars came out. Time, thank God you can have a monotone singer again and get a hit, Dylan.
We did some Cars. We did quite a few Cars back in the day.
Yeah.
Great shit.
They were
and
fun
it's harder
songs.
than it sounds.
Yeah.
Devo was another one. Devo, you might think they're easy. We tried to play a couple of their songs. That keyboard shit going on. They were tough. Yeah. That whipping good's harder than it
sounds. Bernie Taupin and Elton John wrote 57 songs together.
Wow.
And what's funny is a very clever record company paired lyricist Bernie Taupin with Kenneth Reginald Dwight, Elton John, together. A record label put them together, because and they turned out to be fantastic together. I mean, it was a match.
All right, you being such a Zep fan, the rumor right now is that Jimmy's hooking up with David Coverdale. Is that true?
Well, I you know what? That's funny you say that, because Michael Nolan just had the Coverdale Page album. He reviewed it on his show this week. And I remembered I bought it as soon as it came out because a friend of mine, a kid working for me, came to the construction site and goes, "Have you heard Coverdale Page?" And I go, "No." And he said, "Well, this is the first time I felt like taking guitar lessons. I had bought that album.
Whoa.
So I ran out immediately and bought it that same night, the CD. And I remembered it was misplaced in the wrong CD cover. So I went to all my CDs last night and found it, and I listened to it. And they were trying to decide whether that was Jimmy Page's best work after leaving Led Zeppelin. And I'm not
what year did this
anything like his
Coverdale come out?
work. I'm not so sure that I agreed that it's his best work. But go ahead. Sorry.
When did it come out?
Like 92 or something like that. I can't remember exactly.
Why are people talking again? Are they getting back together again? Are they going to go on tour? Do you know?
You know what? I don't know. I thought Jimmy Page was through playing the guitar, to be honest with you.
I thought he was done too. But yeah, there's chatter about Coverdale Page lately.
Well, and maybe that's why Michael Nolan covered it, because there is chatter.
Michael, if you're in the room listening outside there, tell us the scoop. He's our Zeppelin.
Yeah, no, he had a new video out tonight, Pink Floyd's Animal. And they've got a new remastered album out, and he was reviewing that tonight. And I left him a message in the comments to join us tonight.
Yeah, I saw his thing come up, and I couldn't get to it. I have to get a beer before it explodes in the freezer. I'll be right back.
Is that what you were doing?
Yes, that's what I like.
Are we ready for another one?
Yes.
I got the law firm, Jagger and Richards.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah. Yep. There you go.
It's okay. It's okay. This is going to be good.
Yeah, no, that's Hot Rocks, right? The one that you just passed.
Yeah. You just read Hot Rocks.
Oh, that's Get Your Yayas Out. Yeah, I got a pretty good collection of Stones myself. I've always loved the Rolling Stones. 72, I saw them at the Long Beach Arena in concert. Exile on Main Street, we called it. There was another name for it, but we called it the Exile on Main Street. Then in 95, I saw them in Portland, Oregon. What was it? Oh God, what was the name of that concert?
Bridges to Babylon.
Bridges to Babylon. Thank you. Yeah, and I got a hat and T-shirt from that concert. But I love the Rolling Stones. Betty and I bought tickets to see them in San Diego pre-COVID. Bought the tickets, booked the rooms, booked the flights, and then they canceled because of COVID. And anyway, very disappointed. Lou, what were you just holding up?
This is why you wrap your cords properly before you.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
There's
you opened up a crate.
If you don't wrap your cords up, the electricity that's still in them, it just makes them go wild and get all tangled up.
Studios, we have to detangle this tonight so we can hook all this stuff up.
Royce, if you look in the peanut gallery or the
chat there,
you got Bip Up mentioning a songwriting duo.
Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, Lieber and Stoller had about 70 hits, maybe more.
Yeah, Beatles covered them.
Thank you, Bip Bob Boom. You know, I may have written them down, so I might have some information on them. I'm not 100% sure. There was so many songwriters. You know, you had to pick and choose.
I got another one here waiting in the wings.
Familiar.
How about John Sebastian?
John Sebastian, yeah. Oh yeah, he was in Love and Spoonful before he went solo, right?
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Max Martin.
I like one of the things, like you mentioned the Foo Fighters earlier. One of the things I like about the Foo Fighters, a great example of a good song, is Times Like These that he wrote.
Yeah.
When that song first came out, I didn't dig it. It was just this band. He was just kind of jamming through it. But then he released another version of it where he played all the instruments himself unplugged. If you get a chance, if you haven't heard that, it's really moving and really good. And what I'm going with this is you get songs that, for example, I heard recently Hand Jive. Remember Grease? They're doing that silly song. And, the one that you love. The one you love, whatever the wet song's called.
Right.
Yeah. So a guy named Lo Fang redid it, and he slows it down. And when you hear the lyrics slowed down, it'll blow you away. So a lot of times great lyrics are hidden in these songs that are played fast, and people come out later and redo them and slow them down. Right. And you really realize how great that song was. Just Like Heaven by The Cure was redone, and by a couple artists that slowed it down, and you really dig it even more.
So I wanted to ask Bip Bop Boom if you could give us an example, Lieber and Stoller, who's some of the people they wrote for. They had 70 hits. That's a huge catalog.
The Beatles. The Beatles.
They wrote for the Beatles?
The Beatles covered one of their songs. He covered
okay.
Yeah, their stuff. But
hey, what about Hall & Oates? Remember that?
Yeah.
Those guys had a shitload of hits.
Yeah, they did.
Jerry Goffin and Carole King, they were another Tin Pan Alley outfit that wrote for a lot of people other than themselves. Yeah.
Who wrote that song, Send in the Clowns?
Let's look it up.
Send in the Clown.
Judy
Yeah.
Collins
Was it
sang
Collins? I think it was-
She sang
Yeah.
it, but I
She didn't
think-
write it?
I think
I thought Judy Collins wrote it.
no, she sang it, but I don't think
She didn't write that? Someone could check that. Who wrote
We're gonna-
Send in the
I'm
Clowns?
gonna
I
look
thought
it up,
Collins
yeah.
wrote that. That was a badass song. You know,
Wow.
that was like
It's
during
written
the
by
divorce
Stephen
period.
Oh no, that's a different one. Hang on.
Yeah,
I've
the
got
divorce
a-
period songs. Those are great. Hey, don't forget the kooky people like Tony Orlando and Don. Not 3 times. It was a hit.
I've got to give a shout out to Willie Dixon. Willie Dixon was the house songwriter for Chess Records in the 50s and helped shape the Chicago blues. I mean,
Yep,
we
and don't forget Pete Townsend.
all know a whole bunch of Led Zeppelin songs were copies of Willie Dixon's.
Yeah,
But-
Stephen Sondheim wrote it.
Who did?
Sondheim?
Stephen Sondheim.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Was
Pete
Chuck
Townsend
Berry on
wrote
Chess
Tommy.
Records?
The whole damn thing, man. Whole opera, rock, one of the first rock operas, if not the first rock opera. The Who.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Pete wrote that. That was amazing.
Pete Townsend wrote a lot of songs.
Holy shit, man.
A lot
That
of
was
songs.
Great.
Yeah, he was great.
Neil Young's great. Neil Young's a great songwriter.
Neil Young is
Young's
fantastic.
awesome,
Yeah, I
Well,
love
here's
Neil
the thing
Young.
about Neil Young. He writes that one, what is that, Old Man, Look at My Heart, whatever the name of
Yeah.
that song is.
Right.
And what was he, like 22? Just like Steven Tyler when he wrote Dream On. You know,
Right.
was lines on my face getting clearer and clearer. You're 22 or something. You don't have no lines. How do you write that?
Right.
Ray
I don't know.
Davis, really good.
How about Burton Cummings?
Yes, absolutely.
Who?
Burton Cummings.
Burton
Okay.
Cummings and Randy
Oh,
Bachman.
yeah.
Guess who?
Oh yeah,
Continuing.
definitely.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah,
Well-
I want you to guess who it was.
Yeah. Oh,
Guess
guess
who?
who? I was getting ready to say American Woman was their big hit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
American Woman.
These Eyes. Remember that
That's
one?
theirs
Yeah.
too. That's
Yeah.
theirs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Over
Well, how about
Neil?
Neil Diamond?
Neil
Somebody
Yeah,
said
I-
that already.
Neil
yeah, of
Young.
course,
but Neil
yeah.
Diamond had a huge body of work.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
a
gonna do
Tin
one
Pan
popular.
Alley guy.
Everybody covered Neil Diamond songs. Everybody.
What about Billy Joel? Didn't he have some good stuff?
Oh, hell yeah.
Joel had good
Yeah.
stuff.
Speaking of Barry Manilow, lots of
Oh, my
jingles
goodness.
and love songs.
Okay.
That's funny you
okay.
should mention that. When we had a guitar player come up sit in, we always just say Copacabana in E. And they would just look at us funny.
Question: what was Barry's big song?
Mandy.
You're killing me, Richie.
Yeah, about 50 chords, you know.
Okay, what? Go ahead, Daddy.
You
Say
know
it
why
again.
that's funny. You
Right.
don't know why that's funny.
What was Barry Manilow's big song?
Well, okay, I'm going to say I write the songs, but which he
And it
didn't
was
write.
That was a great
Written
song.
by
I liked
Bruce
it.
Johnson, who's a member of the Beach Boys.
That's yeah.
Narcissist singer song.
Yeah.
I'm so great. I
Copacabana.
wrote a song about myself. Here it goes.
Yeah, Bruce
Yeah, I
Johnson
didn't
of the
do
Beach
one of those
Boys.
too. Didn't he get
Absolutely
one of
right.
all the songs type
He was,
songs?
he was originated with the ripcords.
Eddie's physical media's throwing out Paul Williams as a songwriter.
Paul Williams.
Yeah.
Little
Oh
Paul.
yeah, Paul Williams. He had a lot of
Yeah.
good ones. Remember, he come on, tried to sing them after a long time. Yeah, he wrote them all, and everybody else sang them. Then he all of a sudden started showing up and singing them
Right.
on all the TV shows and everything.
Oh
Couple
yeah.
more
Yeah.
current, not current, but newer than what we're talking about. Green Day, and I hate to say these guys, Nickelback. Had a shitload of hits.
I covered Green Day. I liked it.
Oh, did you say that? I missed it. Nickelback too, who everybody
No,
hated.
I mean, I used to sing those stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were making them on your list.
No.
And then you were just talking about that guy the other day, Royce, who said rock and roll was dead, with Adam Levine.
Yeah.
His band's got a lot of hits too.
No, I know. That's right. They do.
I don't know who wrote
There was something on recently.
Chat room, who wrote those guys? What are they called? Maroon 5. Who's writing their music? Who's writing for Maroon 5?
Some guys in Sweden.
Now Maroon 5, that's Bob Dylan's son, right? In that band.
Maroon 5?
Is it really?
No.
I know he played with Neil Young.
Okay.
I saw Neil Young, it was Bob
It's
Dylan.
the Wallflowers. You're thinking of the Wallflowers.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the Wallflowers.
There was another.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's the Wallflowers.
That the song One Headlight. Right.
Yeah.
We're making headway.
What's that?
That
Yeah,
the song
well,
One Headlight?
He's been joined by Marvin Dershowitz. Hi, Marvin. How you doing, buddy?
what's a DVR cable doing in here?
We got a lot of work.
But Bebop's right. Randy Newman is a great songwriter,
Randy Newman,
highly
yeah.
respected.
Not to be mistaken with Gary Newman. Here in my car, I can do
Right,
what I
right.
want.
Thank you, Bib Bob Boom. That's great.
Short people.
We need all the help we can get. Appreciate
Hey, chat room,
appreciate
what's your
everybody
favorite-
chiming in
your
with
favorite writers?
names out.
And then there's the ones that you never hear of. They just write for people. You never
Check this one out. Chris Christopherson.
Christina Aguilera.
Chris Christopherson.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
That's interesting, Mary Jane.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Just like Greg Allman. Greg Allman's kind of like, to me, a Chris Christopherson, where he did a lot of stuff that you're not aware of.
Right.
Just
There's a
like
lot of
you
people,
mentioned
there's a
Glenn
lot of
Campbell.
people like that, actually.
Why do people not like John Denver? He wrote a lot of stuff too. I mean, I'm not a big fan,
He
but
had a lot of
Willie
songs,
Nelson,
yeah.
those guys, he wrote a bunch of
Yeah.
shit. Didn't Willie write his own stuff?
Yes.
I think Willie wrote his own stuff.
Yeah.
All the girls I loved before. Was that?
I'm leaving, you guys. I'm leaving the studio.
To all the girls.
Richie,
I've known
nice seeing
before.
you again.
Are you leaving like that plane? Is it
Bye.
the half hour? We got to
Bye,
go
Rachel.
there. Oh yeah.
Wait.
Our hour's up.
Who's leaving? Who's leaving?
Richard Eddings is leaving the house.
Richard's gone, and then we got to go to.
Where do you have to go?
It's none of your damn business where I have to go.
Your brother's spanking you, man.
No, I have to. I really have to go.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. I'm not gonna pry into
Yeah.
who wears the pants in the
It's
family
not-
and
it's
things
not
like that.
getting-
None of my business.
No
None of my
details.
business is wearing the pants in the family.
We are
Don't worry.
50%
Yeah. All right.
there.
Adios, everybody.
Okay. Bye,
Bye,
Rich.
Rich.
Thanks for coming
Bye.
in, man.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Why?
And we're going to finish our cocktails and unwinding this batch of cables and power ourselves and leave it to you guys to wrap up this sucker, okay?
Oh my God.
I know, we're getting there. Hey, this is what you got to go through as a
We
band.
mentioned Buddy Holly.
We never tell you about.
Oh, Buddy Holly. Yeah. I love Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
The day the music died right there. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, the Big
And the
Bopper.
Crickets.
Oh my God. That's such a
The
sad.
horrible thing about the Buddy Holly, in terms of songwriting, you always see Norman Petty on there. So it's you'll see Buddy Holly Petty song credit and stuff, and it's out. Norman Petty's his manager, had nothing to do with it, but he wanted his name on the writing credit, so he'd get the cash for the writing
Right.
credit.
Right.
That sounds like a couple
Not
bands
a
I was
good
in
thing.
that I wrote all the music for. And they're like,
Did
hey,
somebody,
look,
did somebody mention
played
Burt Bacharach and Hall David? Did they get mentioned yet?
Yeah,
Okay, I thought
because we
so.
mentioned Dionne Warwick.
Yes, we did. But I
Yeah.
don't know, did you
Yeah.
write?
No,
Pardon
I
me?
don't think you wrote.
No, I think Bird did all her hit songs.
Yeah, because she sang, he did the writing. It was a great pair up, He sounded like a dying walrus when he sang.
I got another one.
How did this get in with the wiring? That's what.
That goes in the sequence.
Oh, it held some wires up and just got pulled.
Yeah, Eric. Yeah.
Oh, look at this, Jim Croce. Who doesn't
Oh
love
yeah,
Jim
Jim.
Croce?
Did he do Time in a Bottle?
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's all say hi to Dwayne here.
Hi,
Who wrote the
Dwayne.
music for Bread? That was the best makeout album ever.
Oh,
Gates, David Gates.
Really?
That's right.
Well, he was in the
Well, the Bee
band.
Gees, they wrote their own stuff though too. They had great makeout albums in the '60s, and then the
David
Great
Gates.
Dance album in the late '70s. That '69 album they did their best of. It's a great album when their voices were regular, and then they did the chipmunk shit in '77 or '78. It was good stuff.
Time
All right.
in a bottle. Time in a bottle.
on a bottle. Yeah, he did. He taxi
Leroy
driver.
Brown.
Another big one.
I got a name. I got a name.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we gotta go. We're signing
Okay,
out.
take care. It's so good seeing you both.
Peace out, everybody.
Okay,
Peace
thank you. Good seeing you.
Bye-bye.
Join
Love
us.
you,
Join
Royce.
us anytime. No invitation needed.
No, absolutely. We got to get ready. We got
Thank you
big
for having me.
rehearsal starting this
Thank
week.
you for being here. We
We
appreciate
got
it.
shit to do. All right,
Okay,
guys.
see you, buddy.
Much love.
All right. Take care. Bye. Then there were 3. So, Rachel, your show seems to be going great, right? I mean,
yeah, Michael Nolan gave me a shout out, huge shout out on his channel. It was absolutely stunning shout out.
wow.
And so I got like, I don't know, 60 people came over right after that.
God.
So, and then, you know, hanging out with Michael 45 has helped me out a lot. I kind of function in the background. If he's got one of these big name people, and Michael's got, I don't know, 29,000 followers or something. So you get these big channels and you just kind of rub shoulders with them. It rubs off on you, you know. So
Michael Nolan's been on our show several times.
Yeah, he's your friend.
He made little clips, 6 or 7 or 8 minutes long, that were about our show. He just cut it up and put it on, and they were great little things,
Yeah, it's promo. It's a good thing.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate it. Michael's been a really good friend to us.
I'm a big fan of his.
Friend of us. Yeah. Friend to us too, Rachel. We really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm always happy to come. I came over specifically to support your efforts here tonight, Royce, because
thank you.
You know, the more you get out there, the more people, and I give you good shout outs on my show a fair bit.
Thank you.
And and if I did a video thanking Michael Nolan, but I had to mention you because I only know Michael because of you. And I mentioned on my show today that there's a principle I have. It's a Bible principle. It says, give honor to whom honor is due. You give the credit where it's due, and then you go from that. So I wouldn't have Michael without you. So I'm grateful to you for making that connection, and that's why it worked.
Okay.
Yeah, Gordon Lightfoot's fantastic, Gary.
Yeah, he is fantastic.
Just sometimes I'll pop in on your show and you'll mention Jeffrey Wincher. Is that his name?
Oh, hold on. Now let me think. There's so many different people we got.
You go on his show. He doesn't go on your show.
Yeah.
He's in Michigan. Jeffrey.
Oh, now which one in Jeffrey in Michigan?
Jeff Wincher.
Oh, maybe he's got a channel name where I don't like. He's got a different identity. Because people have
Vinyl Destination.
Final Destination. That it sounds. There's a million. Hang on, I got my little book of words. His name's Vinyl Destination. Let me get it.
It might be. Yeah, I've seen him.
You've been on there too, Royce.
So I don't know if I've been on his show.
He'll have Sam St. John on there and a few other vinyl.
Yeah.
He'll do videos on people sending him albums.
Yeah, Sam, I know. Young
Sam St. John.
And he's new to me. Yeah, like a very nice young man.
Well, Jeff has a show on Thursday nights.
A lot of really good people, doing podcasting and coming to the show.
Well, I got to tell you, seriously, I tell you, I'm up so damn early every morning. I'm up at like 4 o'clock and, my show starts at 6 a.m. Wow. I'm already pretty much wide awake by the show start. So I'm serious. I'm in bed with my little crossword. I go, and I'm like, and then I'm asleep by 8 o'clock. I mean, I'm serious. I swear to God.
Wow. Well, Caitlin loves Bryan Adams. I love Bryan Adams too. We saw Bryan Adams, Betty and I did, up at Vina Robles Winery. Same place I saw Alice Cooper in April. And that was a wonderful show. I mean, I've been listening to some Alice Cooper since I was, I don't know, junior, senior in high school. And so it was just I'd never seen him in concert. I'd never seen him in concert before. We got to see him in April, and it was so much fun. I mean, the beheading, the whole thing. And I know Ryan Roxy. I've hung out with him a few times, and he's a good guy. And he's just an amazing. Every time I see him play the guitar, he gets even smoother and more fluid. Ryan Roxy does. He's a great guitar player. And so that was a great show. And
See, now
Brian
Daddy
Adams
Bog,
was a great show too.
yeah. Well, Brian Adams played my high school a couple of times when I was a kid. Yeah, because I'm in the area, and he was with Sweeney Todd with Nick Gilder, Hot Child in the City.
Yeah.
And Roxy Roller, those two things. But Daddy Bog comes on the show. I recognize Daddy Bog now.
Yeah.
You're pretty much like, I'll see Daddy Bog every couple of days or so. You're pretty regular coming in.
Yeah, but your show runs like 3 or 4 hours, and I don't expect to watch it all.
I don't expect anybody to watch it all. It's the idea of it. The way I philosophize the whole thing, treat it like a talk radio show. Yeah. So when you're riding in the car, you hear a little bit of noise in the background. That's the way I treat it.
Because we have a few people coming on there from another old show. People like Bill Kay, Caitlin, and I'm not logged into the chat, so I want to say hi to everybody in the chat because I'm not logged in.
Okay.
So hi to everybody.
Right. Yeah, there's a bunch of us.
But you're allowed on my show anytime you want, right? You can come on camera and do what you're doing here anytime you want, right?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I just like to make that, it's generally for anybody that I know that isn't going to cause damage or become an agent provocateur. I'm happy to have them on.
Because I see now you're trying to boost Spittin'.
Oh, Bobby, Spittin' the Truth About Records. He is a character. I love that kid. Yeah,
he's wearing the Celtic and Patriot.
Yeah, I noticed you had your Celtic. You had some Boston Celtics there in your.
Oh, I have all over my wall here. Old time Celtics.
Is that your basketball team?
Yeah. I lived in New England for a while. I'm originally from New York.
Wow, amazing. Now, is it like right in New York City or Upper State?
Queens.
Oh my God! Say hi to the Ramones.
Well. I tell people I used to go to the Action House in Long Island. Yeah. I used to see Billy Joel when he was first starting out with a group called the Hassles. Carmen Apiece with Vanilla Fudge played there.
Fantastic.
And Leslie West was with a group called the Vagrants before they became Mountain.
Yes.
So we used to go to this club for $5 and see all these top people, the Rascals. And there was a song called There's a Moon Out Tonight by the Capris. Well, Frank Rayner lived around the corner from me growing up.
Yeah, weren't the Rascals the Knickerbockers or something before they became the Rascals?
No, Young Rascals.
Yeah, well, then they were, but even before before the Rascals showed up.
Knickerbockers had the song called Lies.
Oh,
it sounded like the Beatles.
Yeah. That's that Beatles sounded like.
Yeah, Lies.
Yeah, Dan's feeling better. Dan was sick, so he didn't think he was going to be here at all, but he did pop in here. And
I spoke to him on Facebook. He's doing a lot better.
Yeah, be well, Dan. He had serious surgery, heart surgery.
It's like the 10th time.
He's had several. So anyway, to all you folks out there listening, I noticed when I study my analytics, I have 2 non-subscribers watching my show for every subscriber that I have. I would really love for some of you people to go ahead and subscribe to the show. That would really make my day here. I would appreciate it. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything, but it helps us to build the show.
And you're here. You're
here. So you just hit the subscribe button, which is on the show that you're watching.
Here's one for you, Royce. When they mention people not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, how about my other beach buddies, Jan and Dean?
Oh, yeah.
The knock on them is because they didn't play musicians. They didn't play. They just sang. That's been the big knock on why they're not in.
Right. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, they had enough hits.
Well, I wanted to say one thing to Gary Spring. He brought up John Fogerty, and Cosmos Factory was his favorite album. And I think I have Cosmos Factory. I've got several Fogerty albums.
Yeah,
I've got Chronicles in colored vinyl. And my very first 8-track I bought was Bayou Country, Creedence. I bought 2 at once, and the other one was Disraeli Gears. And I just got a car. I just put an 8-track stereo in it. And it was Disraeli Gears and Creedence Clearwater. And I absolutely love Creedence Clearwater. I thought they were like Southern rock. and was shocked to find out that they were from Lodi, California.
Yeah.
That threw a lot of people.
Cosmos Factory, my favorite album from them too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Great. I guess Green River was the biggest seller of all of them.
Probably, but Cosmos Factory. Cosmos Factory plays like a greatest hits album. You go, holy moly, what the stuff on there.
That's exactly right.
Now we got a youngster out here. Look at Royce. This kid here. Look at this.
Didn't take him long, did it?
It's one of Richie's fans is showing up.
I know. Hey, Richie. I guess
see what happened with me is I bought so many albums as a young kid in the 60s, 70s that I've been there, done that, and I got the original albums. And people now are excited with these reissues. So
Right. Remastered, reissued, whatever. Yeah. I
mean, what it is though? Albums, people like me, Daddy, I got rid of all my records because CDs were invented. I go, this is small and better. Yeah. It doesn't tinkle crackle. So I'm going to get. Okay, you here? I gave all my records away.
I know what you're saying. I still had a few, even going back to my parents' house. I had a few.
And now, Daddy, when I go to try and find the records. You go, I want a mono revolver. Good luck with that.
I'm going to move my camera for just a minute. I've got Revolver, the original Parlophone pressing right there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix picture. And that's an original pressing Parlophone from England. And it's got one of the songs on it. It's the last one on the second side. Is an alternate version not found on any other Revolver. And there's all this talk about the new box set coming out for Revolver, and so I just thought I'd throw that out.
Well, the big story is that because the Brits had their version and then US had their version, so there's actually two versions of Revolver, and the Americans got ripped off because the Brits got more songs on there.
Well, I know mine's mono. Wasn't the American version stereo?
The American came in two flavors, so you could you could get mono or you could get stereo. They came out at the same time.
And I've got the Parlophone pressing of Help, which is mono, and I've got the White Album, an original pressing, American original pressing, and it's I call it a low number only because there's 3 million made. Yeah. It's number 70,000. It's in the lowest 2% of the numbers.
Yeah, it's still a low number.
It's still a low number, and it's got the 4 pictures, the original pictures on lightweight, picture stock, not card stock. Got the poster, and the whole thing is just in excellent condition.
It's a treasure. It's a treasure to have. I got a UK top loader. Patrick, the vinyl archivist, sent me. Oh, great. It's fantastic. But the White Album is also available in mono or stereo, but I prefer the stereo because that's the one where Ringo's go, I got blisters on me fingers, and they go, blam, and it ends at the end of Helter Skelter.
I wonder what she's doing tonight, right? Wasn't that their big hit? I wonder what she's doing tonight. Tommy Boyce.
I'm not sure. I was going to ask you guys if you're familiar with Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart from the Monkees.
I think they had the song called I Wonder What She's Doing Tonight.
Okay. Does that sound right to you, Dan? I wonder what she's doing tonight.
And there's another gentleman who's into the Beatles. He's real heavy. He's called Mr. Mayo.
Yeah, Joe Mayo. We know Joe. Everybody knows
Mean Mr. Mayo. And the Beatles got a song, Mean Mr. Mustard. I'm pretty sure that's a play on that.
Yeah, just look at Boyce and see what they wrote for the Monkees.
You ever watch that girl in Pennsylvania with the record store where they show all the records?
I'm not sure.
I can't think of the name of the show.
But I think I see it, the thumbnails on the channel and stuff.
Yeah. It's a record store in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
There's so many websites. I mean, you can't keep up with all of them.
No, you can't. I mean, I'm still working. as full time as I can. So there's times that I'm on the job site at 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's really cutting into my, fun on the podcast.
I've been retired 11 years.
Have you? Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're thinking about maybe I'm remodeling the house right now. I've got bathrooms to rebuild and different things, and the property values have just gone crazy in California. We're thinking about actually selling the home and moving to Florida.
Wow.
Just try something completely different, That actually sounds kind of exciting to me.
I hate
my wife is very excited about it. And at that point, I won't be working there as much.
I've been in Florida 34 years. This has probably been the worst one for the heat.
Okay.
I mean, your summers are extended here.
Yeah.
But you're here for the mild winters, no doubt about it.
Right. Well, where exactly do you live at? What city?
Beverly Hills.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm on the phone and I have to go Beverly Hills, Florida.
See, yeah, Boyce and Art. See, Mary Jane. She said they wrote "Last Train to Clarksville." It was a huge hit for the Monkees. But they wrote more than that for them. They wrote a lot of the Monkees songs. And Star Trekker, I have not bought any records from. No, that's not true. I bought one record from Walmart, and then Walmart up here shut down their record division. You can't buy records there anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In Canada, well, at least we're in my part of Canada. It may be different back east. I'm on the West Coast.
They're still really big here. They just keep stocking those shelves and newer stuff.
And Target, U.S. Target, you guys get really cheap, good deals on vinyl there too.
I know. I just got one yesterday. I go to Walmart, Target, and Best Buy has albums too.
Well, this isn't music, but I hear CVS is in trouble. CVS has been closing up stores.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The pharmacy, yeah.
Oh, CVS, okay.
CVS, yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to CBS.
Yeah, it's supposed to close like 300 stores in the next 3 years.
Oh, I never heard that. Yeah, we always go to Walgreens. That's where I have my prescriptions.
Yeah.
I might stop that though. They're so slow there; it just drives you crazy. My prescription for my eyes was supposed to be ready. I stood in line for 40 minutes, and I had one person in front of me. I stood in line for forever, and I got up there, and it wasn't ready yet. I had to leave.
But what's good about those places is the air conditioning. You can, they really blow you out with the air.
Yeah, right.
Especially here in Florida.
Right. So anyway, there's a lot of songwriters. I mean, for every one we covered, there's 10 we didn't. Lou Reed was a great songwriter.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Van Morrison got mentioned, but I've been a huge Van Morrison fan for 30 years. He's got so many good songs. And somebody mentioned Buddy Holly. He was on my list along with Woody Guthrie. And I mentioned Burt Bacharach. Michael Jackson wrote a lot of songs. Jackson Browne wrote a lot of really good songs. Yeah. My wife loves Jackson Browne.
Yeah, the big song they gave to the Eagles, right? Take It Easy.
I think so. Yeah. He's always in concert here. He always comes to Vina Robles or he's down at the Santa Barbara Bowl.
Yeah, part of that scene was J.D. Souther too. I like him.
Souther.
Yeah.
You're Only Lonely.
I mean,
yeah, I love that song. It's a sweet.
I don't want to mention all the names now that I have here because there's some of them I want to talk about next week. But I mean, Don Henley and Glenn Frey, that writing team for the Eagles, Hotel California, Desperado, One of These Nights. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Lying Eyes,
Desperado,
great writing team. There's just so many. I mean, it's really kind of endless, really. And a lot of people that didn't sing songs, they weren't singing artists. They just simply wrote songs.
Yeah, Tequila Sunrise.
Then there was a lot. Then there was a lot that did both. Let's see. Vinyl Archivist mentions some equipment he needs to archive his vinyl. $2,400 for the preamps. Let's see. Maybe somebody's got some of this. $400 for the preamps, which are about 2 times the cost of new. Okay.
Oh, I wanted to ask Rachel. These people on various websites, they have vinyl contests, huh?
Oh yeah, it's part of the thing. It's called like the vinyl community. So it's a loose association of music lovers that primarily collect records. CD people are involved, and so then they start a channel. So they go, "Hi, I'm Billy. I'm Kathy. Whoever they may be."
Right.
And then somebody came up with the idea. Why don't I make a prize in the most altruistic sense? It's like, I want to pay back the people that watch my show all the time. I'm going to give you a prize, but here, I'm going to give you a little contest to do. They call them contests, but it's like pull a name out of a hat.
Right.
Or there's these wheels that you can
do.
So
the one subscriber was trying to get to 500.
Yeah, they're promotional. At the end of the day, by and large, they're promotional bits. And people have various philosophies about it. Some people object to them outright. I have no compunction. I've done a lot of them myself. It helped my channel grow.
I've seen you, do some, and
I do them for everybody. I help anybody who's doing a contest.
Yeah, I know a lot of people
pretty much anybody I'll do it for.
I know a lot of people use VC, Vinyl Community, in the title of their shows, even.
Yeah,
and people are always doing fundraising. Is that you don't have to get permission to do that if you're.
No, what you do, the reason you want to put Vinyl Community in is when people are searching the net and they go, I want something from the Vinyl Community.
Okay.
If I do a contest, sometimes I'll do a hashtag Vinyl Community contest because I myself have go on Vinyl Community in my search to find any contests that I haven't entered to go support somebody. And by the way, I'd be remiss. There's something I've just received word. I can't verify the accuracy of this. So maybe I just got to check one thing. The source is the source is not reliable enough. Somebody could have been saying something. I'm just not sure, but it's something I'll have to check into it and do it. I was going to tell the folks here because it's a health issue. But I don't want to share it until I get more confirmation on it. It wouldn't be fair to everybody. Gary, I'm from Sydney, BC. I'm born in Port Alberni, but I live in Sydney. And I spent some time in Manitoba. But most of my life has been spent in British Columbia on Vancouver Island.
Yeah, Marvin brought up Al Cooper. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the same Al Cooper that was on the album Super Sessions. And that was one of my old favorite albums from the 60s was called Super Sessions with the song Season of the Witch on it, which was a big song.
Oh, yeah, that's a big
And I really love that album. I came across that album one day at an antique store, and it was all scratched up. I wanted to buy it. And it's available new. Yeah, but that was all Al Cooper. If I'm not mistaken, Marvin, Al Cooper, Mike Bloomfield, and I can't remember who else, but it was Al Cooper, Mike Bloomfield. Great musicians.
Yeah, and they're both on Dylan's Highway 61, and he famously sat down and played the organ part that starts off like a Rolling Stone.
Right. Okay. Well, listen, folks. We've gone a little over on time, so I think we're gonna cut it short now. And I want to
thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
Daddy, nice meeting you on screen.
Sammy, and nice meeting you, Rachel.
That was fun.
Yeah, thank you.
And everybody subscribe to Royce. Support the host.
Thank you. And everybody subscribe to Rachel's Ghost. She's fantastic. Wonderful show. And so I want to thank everybody in the chat and everybody that's going to be watching it later, because my shows are all available all the time. And we usually get, by the second day, the views have doubled. But anyway, so I want to thank everybody that's here. And sorry, Dan, that you weren't feeling well tonight. And we did talk about Bernie Taupin and Elton John and how many songs they collaborated on. And thank everybody. And thank all you guys that are here with me, helping me. And that's what's going on in Royce's world today. Thank you all very, very much. Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Chat room.